Well, the presidential race may be a toss-up, but many of the congressional seats up for grabs in New Jersey are heavily favored for incumbents and Democrats. That appears to be the case for State Senator Nellie Poe, the Democratic nominee in the 9th District, who's expected to win the race against Republican Billy Prempeh and replace the late Congressman Bill Pascrell. But Poe is also facing pushback from many in her own party over support of Israel's war in Gaza, especially from residents in Patterson, the heart of the district and home to the largest per capita Palestinian-American population of any city in the nation. Senior political correspondent David Cruz digs into whether the issue could affect her votes.
The race for the 9th Congressional District is most significant because someone other than the late Bill Pascrell will be representing it for the first time since the late 1900s. But in a race where a loyal Latina Democrat is facing a Trump-supporting Republican African immigrant, the battle lines are still very familiar.
My opponent cannot be more different than I am. My opponent believes in conspiracy theories. My opponent does not believe in freedom, the freedom for a woman to have the ability to her reproductive rights.
I'm not necessarily bringing a giant platform from the national level and bringing it here locally. And I think by doing that and talking with the people and finding out what's on their mind and realizing that the situation is a lot more nuanced. Example, the Israel-Palestine conflict.
And in Patterson, for instance, which makes up the majority of this district, that's an issue that hits home for the thousands of Palestinians and Arabs who live here. Bill Pascrell was facing some heat from these voters, and from the looks of it, that's not easing. Speaking personally, Wasim Kanan with American Muslims for Palestine says voters should look beyond the two major party candidates because neither Poe nor Prempeh seems to really get it.
State Senator Poe's response to a question in regard to an arms embargo on Israel was astonishingly uninformed. She doesn't understand, first and foremost, the basics of the current situation in Gaza. And then second, she doesn't understand U.S. military aid as a process.
No one wants this more than every single, individual, certainly everyone in Patterson, everyone throughout the country, everyone I speak to wants to be able to have an immediate resolution to this situation that's happening in the Middle East.
I see a lot of people on the conservative side, you have to support Israel. A lot of people on the liberal side, you got to support Palestine. I don't support either side. I support the United States of America, and I'm running to represent the United States of America. You're an American, they're an American. We have to come to a more diplomatic solution.
That talking point of not funding foreign governments is an argument of the Trump wing of the Republican Party. So that answer signals to me more broadly where he falls under the Republican tent. And so that's what concerns me, is that, okay, when you say we shouldn't be sending money to foreign countries, are you then saying that we should be spending money on housing and food and mental wellness on people? Or are you going to come at me with let's build the wall?
In the battle of ideas, if history is any guide, most voters here would be pro-Poe, which, despite some shaky debate performances by the Democrat, is likely how this race will break.
She only just got in this race. She hasn't been able to study the issues for a year the way that other candidates have had to study the issues. Prempeh is clearly a thoughtful guy who has put a lot of thought into these positions that he's taken. He is a veteran, so he's a really interesting candidate. He's an immigrant. He's a person of color. So he is definitely outside of the mold and the mainstream for a Republican candidate.
Prempeh is counting on that to turn voters away from Poe, but Poe knows that this is still a solidly Democratic seat. And with 2 weeks to go, she only has to stay on course in order to win. I'm David Cruz, NJ Spotlight News.